Okay, so we welcome all the participants and today's eminent faculty, CS Sachin Jain, to this webinar, very important webinar on GSTR 999C. The webinar is being organized by four associations jointly. That's Income Tax Bar Association, All Gujarat Federation of Tax Consultant, Tax Advocate Association Gujarat, and Gujarat State Tax Bar Association. And there are many members joining from multiple part of the country. So I thank everyone for joining today's webinar. As we are heading towards the deadline for GSTR 9 and 9C, it is very important to understand the changes and how it affects, because every year the government changes the rules in between related to ITC, claiming ITC, filing forms, GSTR 1 and 3B and all that things. So we have an eminent speaker, CS Sachin Jain, with us today, who will explain us about the nitty-gritties in GSTR 9 and 9C. We have with us CA Dr. Vishwesha, who is president of AGFT. So I request him to welcome and start the webinar.
Thank you, Sridhar. C.S. Sridhar Shah, President Income Tax Bar Association. Sri Shailesh Makwana, President Gujarat Sell Tax Bar Association. Advocate Jaideep Patel, President Tax Advocate Association. Eminent Speaker Sri C.A. Sachin Jain Sir. All committee member of all four associations, all Gujarat Federation of Tax Consultant, Income Tax Bar Association, Gujarat State Tax Bar Association, and TAG. Last but not the least, all participants, without you, our program can't be success. So I welcome to all on behalf of all four associations in this webinar. Nowadays, all are agree with me that now we have no free time. On each and every day, we have some deadline and assignment. Just we relax from our assignment of tax audit and other assignment related work. We enjoy Diwali and now going to major due dates for filing GSTR 9 and 9C in the coming days. So learn from our esteemed speaker CA Sachin Jain to guide for the about topic. Once again, we welcome all from our bottom of our heart from our four association. Thank you. Now, Sridhar.
Thank you, Vishweshbhai, for welcoming. And before we start the webinar, it's time that we introduce our today's speaker. So on behalf of all the association, we will welcome C.S. Sachin Jain, a distinguished and dynamic chartered accountant with extensive expertise in indirect taxation. He's a partner at Messrs. Jai Kumar Jain and Company, a renowned CA firm based in Rajasthan. With his remarkable versatility, he also serves as an advocate and CS. Over the years, he has made significant contribution to the profession, having trained over 20,000 professionals across India. His wealth of knowledge is further highlighted by his authorship in key publications, including 201 important judgments under GST, Simplified GST Guide, and Simplified Audit and Assessment Guide. Additionally, his leadership extends to various articles on critical subjects as GST, concurrent audits, and MCA compliances also. And his dynamic approach and innovative insights continue to benefit tax and audit committees across the country. So with this, we welcome CS Sachin Jain, and we can see already 110 participants are there awaiting for your knowledge. So over to you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Sridharji, for the introduction, and thank you, entire team, for this opportunity. So, today we'll discuss something important, and we are going to start our discussion on a very important topic, that is GSTR 9 and 9C annual return and reconciliation statement. As we all know, this topic is very important in the current time, in the current scenario. So, first, I'm just going to share with you my presentation. Sir, please allow me to share the presentation. I'm sharing the request.
Yeah. You share it. You have the rights. Are you getting it or?
No,
okay.
it's showing I'm not able to share.
Okay. Wait a second. So, yeah.
Now it's
Yeah.
okay. Now I suppose the presentation is visible and everything is fine.
Yes, it's visible.
Okay, sir. Thank you. So, before we start our discussion on this GSTR 9 and 9C, I just request one to two things from all the participants. Sir, we have one chat box. So make this session interactive. If you have any question, any query, you may ask the questions in the chat box in between the session itself. Don't wait for the last moment. We'll take your queries in between the session as well. And one more thing, if possible, then just keep one pen and paper with you so that if you will found certain important points, then you can make notes of that. In this particular session, we'll cover the GSTR 9 and 9C, certain important things. We'll try to cover each and every table. We'll try to cover each and every part of this 9 and 9C with certain examples so that it will be very easy for you to understand the things. We'll try to cover certain examples, certain industry specific things as well. So let's start our discussion on this GSTR 9 annual return. Now, what do you mean by this GSTR 9 annual return, and what is the requirement, what is the usage, what is the importance of this GSTR 9? Sir, this GSTR 9 is going to provide the opportunity to submit the details to the government related to your reconciliation. Because when I'm filing my GSTR 3B return, when I'm filing my GSTR 1 return, at that time I'm filing the monthly data or quarterly data to the government. Now government is asking that you may provide us the consolidated data. That means we are just going to cross verify the details which we have fed in our monthly returns. Now we are going to present the consolidated data. So first we'll try to understand the importance of this GSTR 9 and 9C. Sir, in this GSTR 9 and 9C, we have the opportunity to make any corrections, to make any amendments, to declare any sales, to reduce any input tax credit or reverse any input tax credit. And also the most important thing is that when the departmental authority will come for the audit, whether it is scrutiny, whether it is departmental audit, they are going to take the data from your GSTR 9 and 9C consolidated data. And if you have reported certain things and that is not in line with your books of accounts, then there may be certain issues. So we just need to file this GSTR 9 and 9C return in a very well manner. So in this particular webinar, we'll discuss certain important points as well that we just need to keep these things in our mind. So first, if the turnover of the taxpayer is 2 crore or more, then there will be a mandatory requirement to file the GSTR 9 return. But suppose if the turnover is less than 2 crore rupees, then also if there will be any reconciliation or you want to present certain reconciliations to the government, then you may file this GSTR 9 return so that your consolidated, your final data can be submitted to the government. Now, sir, suppose just we'll take one example and I will ask with you the question. Okay. So suppose I have one branch is at Jodhpur, Rajasthan, another branch is at Gujarat, third branch is at Maharashtra. For my Rajasthan branch, the turnover is 1.5 CR. For my Gujarat branch, the turnover is 1.8 CR, and for my Maharashtra branch, the turnover is 90 lakh rupees. In that scenario, whether I need to file the GSTR 9 return or not, that means there will be a mandatory requirement to file the GSTR 9 return or not. Just let me know in the chat box. 3 branches are there. One is at Rajasthan, another is at Gujarat, third one is at Maharashtra. So for my Rajasthan branch, turnover is 1.2, 1.5 and 80 lakh rupees. Maximum participants are saying yes. Yes, the GSTR 9 is applicable, because whenever we are going to check the applicability for filing the GSTR 9 and 9C return, we'll take the turnover based on PAN number only. Okay, we are not going to take the turnover on based on GSTN. If I am going to consolidate the figure for all these 3 branches, then my turnover exceed 2 crore rupees, 2 crore or more. So there will be a mandatory requirement to file the GSTR 9 return for all the branches. Okay, those who are registered as a regular taxable person, they require to file the GSTR 9 return. And if you are not supposed to file the GSTR 9 return on time, then there will be applicability of late fees as well, and the due date to file the GSTR 9 return is your 31st December 2024 for financial year 2023-24. Now we'll directly start our discussion on various parts of this GSTR 9. Okay, I just request everyone, when we are going to discuss on each and every part of this GSTR 9, just try to do one thing. Just try to do one thing. Just imagine the various parts and various tables of GSTR 9 and 9C, so that when I am going to discuss a single or a specific part, you can easily link the details with that specific part. Okay. So first of all, our first part in this GSTR 9 is related to the basic details. Basic details are auto-populated. Maximum details are auto-populated. They are requiring the GSTN, the financial year, the legal name, and the trade name. These things are auto-populated from your registration particulars. That means when you have submitted or when you have taken the GST registration, at that time you all have fed these type of details. So this will be auto-populated in your GSTR 9. Now, sir, in my GSTR 3B return or in my GSTR 1 return, I am going to report my outward supply. I am going to report my outward supply. Am I right? In my GSTR 3B first part, I am going to report my outward supply, and I am also going to provide the details related to export, the details related to special economic zone. I am also going to provide the details related to deemed export. Okay. Or I am also going to report certain sales on account of advances. That means in case of services, GST will be applicable on advances as well. These details I am going to report in my GSTR 3B on monthly or quarterly basis, and based on that, I am paying the taxes to the government. Okay. Now, we have already discussed that, sir, in my GSTR 9 return, I am going to provide the consolidated detail as per my books of accounts and as per my GST records. That means I am going to equalize the books sales with the GST 3B or 1 sales. Okay, section number 44 of CGST Act. So the second part of GSTR 9 is related to your outward supply. In the second part of GSTR 9 related to outward supply, you need to provide the details related to your B2B, B2CS, that means registered supply, unregistered supply. Suppose during that particular financial year, if you have made any supply to the special economic zone with payment of tax, if you have made any sales to outside India, and that will be determined as an export. Okay, just one question from my side, that sir, if I am going to make any supply to Dubai, in that case, whether the same will be treated as export or not, just comment me in the chat box as yes or no. If I am going to make any supply to outside India, that means Dubai in my example, so the same will be treated as export or not. So maximum answers are yes, but as per me, the same will not be treated as export. If you are going to make a particular supply outside India, merely the outside India supply will not be treated as the export. There are certain other conditions are also there, and if all the conditions will be fulfilled, then only the same will be treated as export. Otherwise, the same will be treated as interstate supply. Yes. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Ritesh ji. So now let's come to our point. So in our GSTR 9 part number 2, I just need to provide the details related to my outward supply. Now, there may be chances that when I am making the supply, I am making the supply as taxable or as not taxable. So first, your part number 2 of GSTR 9 requiring the details related to your taxable supply. Under taxable supply, there may be chances that the taxpayer has made a supply to registered person, to unregistered person, export with payment of tax, special economic zone, deemed export, or the taxpayer has paid certain taxes on account of advances for services. So the same will be part of your GSTR 9. Okay. So just will do one thing. I will just share with you the format of this GSTR 9 so that it will be very easy for you to understand the things. Just wait for a single second. Yes. Now, so it will be very easy for you to understand the things. So in my GSTR 9, in my part number 2nd of GSTR 9, I need to present the details related to unregistered person, the details related to the supply made to the registered person, zero rated supply, special economic zone, deemed export, advances. These all are the bifurcation of your outward supply which you have made during the financial year. Now, suppose there may be one situation. I am just going to take one example. Sir, in this GSTR 9 return, your outward supply related data will be auto-populated. Okay. And the data will be auto-populated from your GSTR 1 return. Your outward supply related data will be auto-populated from your GSTR 1 return. Now, I will also share with you certain technical points so that you can use it in your day-to-day practices or while filing the GSTR 9 return. Sir, suppose your GSTR 1 and books is completely reconciled and your 3B is also reconciled with GSTR 1 and books. Then whatever data which is auto-populated in your GSTR 9 return, keep it as it is. There is no requirement to make any changes. Okay. Now, second scenario. Suppose your GSTR 1 and books of accounts is completely reconciling, but there is certain mismatch in your GSTR 3B. In that case also, the data which is auto-populated in your GSTR 9 return, keep it as it is. Third situation. Suppose your books of accounts and GSTR 3B is reconciling, but there is certain differences between books and GSTR 1. In such a scenario, the data which is auto-populated in your GSTR 9 return, you just need to adjust that figure as per your books of accounts. Conclusively, your GSTR 9 should be completely based on your books of accounts. Okay. Now, when you will feed the data as per your books of accounts, because your GSTR 1 is not reconciling with the books of accounts, in such a scenario, your 3B में जो आपने टैक्स का पेमेंट किया है, you have made the payment of taxes in your GSTR 3B, the same will be reconciled with the outward supply. Okay. Now, fourth scenario, the roast situation, that your books, your 1, your 3B, all the things are not reconciling. In such a scenario, you just need to feed the data in your GSTR 9 related to outward supply from your books of accounts. Okay. Then we'll check the effect as well, that what will be the effect which you are going to feed the data in our letter tables. Okay. So basically, in my GSTR 9 return, part number 2nd is related to outward supply, and I need to provide the bifurcation of the outward supply as B2B, B2CS, export with payment of tax, zero rated supply, deemed export, and advances. Okay. Now, sir, as per section number 9, subsection 3 of CGST Act, government has provided one specific list of goods and services. And if the taxpayer is dealing in that particular type of goods and services, in such a scenario, that person has to make the payment of taxes under reverse charge mechanism, and that person will be eligible to claim the input tax credit. Okay. So, in such a scenario, you just need to show that inward supply liable to reverse charge mechanism as well in this specific field. Yes, sir. If in your GSTR 1 return and 3B return, there is certain turnover which is related to the previous financial year, and you have reported the same in the last year GSTR 9 return, in that case, when you are going to feed the data in this specific outward supply part, you just need to feed as per your books of accounts. Okay, so that it will be clearly identifiable, because in my GSTR 9 return, there is no any facility to show the figures related to previous year. So we just need to exclude the same and show the data as per our books of accounts. That is what is the way we need to follow. Okay. Now, sir, this will be the total of my supply, and we have provided the bifurcation of outward supply. Okay. Now, there may be chances that during the financial year, the taxpayer has reduced the outward liability by issuing certain credit note, or enhance certain liability by issuing the debit note. Or there may be chances that the taxpayer has reported certain amendments during the financial year, and through that amendment the taxpayer has reduced the outward liability or enhanced the outward liability. Okay, because we are filing the amendments in GSTR 1 return. Okay, so that amendment is related and credit or debit note related things will also be there in your GSTR 9 return. Okay, these amendments are auto populated from your GSTR 1 return, which you have reflected, which you have reported while filing the GSTR 1 return. And credit and debit note are obviously from your GSTR 1 return, so you just need to make it as per books of accounts. Now, one more technical point is there. Suppose, sir, as per your books of accounts, your B2B and B2C, if I am going to take the consolidated figure, then the consolidated figure is completely reconciling with the books of accounts. But in your books of accounts, certain entries are showing as unregistered. But in your GST records, you have shown it as a registered. So in that case, there will be interhead differences, B2B, B2CS. In such a scenario, as per my opinion, the data which is reflected in GSTR 9, keep it as it is. Because if you are going to show it in registered, then also the counterparty will not be eligible to claim any input tax credit. So better the data which is reflected in GSTR 9, keep it as it is. And I am saying these lines because complete audit, complete scrutiny selection will also be based on your GSTR 9. If there will be any mismatch, they are going to highlight it as red. Then after, yes, obviously after scrutiny, you have option, you can submit the reply to the authority. But when we have option to skip these things, then we should follow that as well. Okay, so this is the first part of my outward supply taxable part. Okay, now, sir, with that taxable, there may be chances that I am dealing in the not taxable part. Not taxable means exempted supply, zero rated supply. That means the supply to special economic zone or supply export without payment of tax, or I am involved in certain type of supply on which the recipient will be liable to make the payment of the taxes. So in such a situation, I am not liable to make the payment of the taxes. And government is asking for the bifurcation, reconciliation of taxable as well as not taxable, because if I am going to add taxable, not taxable, then your total turnover will be there. Okay. So government is demanding that details as well. Hence, government has provided one part in your GSTR 9 in which you need to provide the details of your outward supply not taxable. And in that part, you need to report your zero rated supply without payment of tax, that is export under LUT or bond, special economic zone without payment of tax. Whenever there will be a supply to a special economic zone for authorized operation, in such a scenario, the same will be zero rated supply. So the same should be reported here. Supply on which the reverse charge mechanism will be applicable, exempted, nil rated, non-GST supply. All these things should be reported in your GSTR 9 return. Now, as we have already covered, there may be chances of certain credit note, debit note amendments related to the taxable supply. The same will be applicable for not taxable as well. There may be chances that during that financial year, a taxpayer has issued certain debit note, credit note, or amendments related to the not taxable supply. So that should be part of your GSTR 9. And then after, they are automatically present the total of your turnover. The total of your turnover. And this will be your aggregate turnover. And as per my opinion, the same should be reconciling with your books of accounts. Okay. Now, there may be chances that certain sales which you have reported during the subsequent financial year within the timeline of section 16 subsection 4. As per section number 16 subsection 4, if I skip to report certain sales during the financial year 2023-24, then I have a timeline. I can report the same till 30th November or annual return, whichever is earlier. So if you have reported the sales during the subsequent financial year, then there may be chances of difference of this turnover with your books of accounts, because in the subsequent part 10, 11, 12, 13, you are going to report that sales. Then after, your consolidated sales should be reconciled with your books of accounts. Yes, definitely. If you have reported your zero rated transactions in nil rated, then you may correct it in your GSTR 9 return. And also, if you are going to correct it, then as we all know, in case of zero rated supply, you will be eligible for refund as well. So if you are going to rectify in your GSTR 9 return, you can also go for refund as well for your accumulated balance of input tax credit. Four J is related to debit note. Sir, there may be chances due to price variation, due to margin, the taxpayer is going to enhance the outward liability. Okay, because in my GSTR 9 return, GSTR 1 return on monthly basis, we are filing, we are also showing the debit or credit note, both the scenarios will be there. Yes, Bhumika ji, as per your explanation, if the GSTR 9C is applicable, then I am in situation to, I may report the things in my GSTR 9C return related to last financial year, whether it is related to input tax credit, whether it is related to outward supply. But if the GSTR 9C is not applicable, in such a scenario, I just need to adjust the things in my GSTR 9 return only. Amendment, sir. When we are going to suppose in my GSTR 1 return, while filing the GSTR 1 return of May 2023, I have reported one specific invoice number 24 with a value of 10,000 rupees. In subsequent period, this has been come to my notice that the actual value of that 10,000 rupees ka invoice, the taxable value should be 11,000 rupees. In such a scenario, when I will file my subsequent month GSTR 1 return, I am going to amend the taxable value. 10,000 ko I am going to report it as 11,000 rupees. I am going to enhance my outward supply by 1,000 rupees, and I am going to pay the differential tax in my GSTR 3B return. So the same should be come in your amendments part. Is that okay? Now, this is my first part related to the outward supply. Arjunji will provide the response to your query as well. Note it. Now, this is my first part related to the outward supply. Current year RCM paid in the next year. So if you have paid the RCM subsequent financial year within the timeline of section 16 subsection 4, in such a scenario, you just need to show it in this specific part only. Okay, because your inward supply liable to reverse charge mechanism should be as per books of accounts, and you are going to claim the input tax as well, because the ITC you have already claimed in your timeline, that is section 16 subsection 4. Lekin, but when you will report the input tax credit, you need to provide the bifurcation as per section 16 subsection 4. We'll discuss that as well. Okay, when we'll cover the input tax credit part, we'll discuss on that. But related to outward supply and inward supply liable to reverse charge mechanism related to the financial year 2023-24, but if you have reported during the subsequent financial year within the timeline of section 16 subsection 4, then you need to show the total RCM related liability as per your books of accounts in this specific part. Is that okay, Mukesh ji? No, sir. Ketan ji, as per your GSTR 9, one most important fact is that in your GSTR 9 return, you are eligible, you are completely eligible to pay any tax to the government. If you want to pay any tax to the government, you are eligible to pay. But if you want to reduce your outward liability, you will not be eligible. Or if you want to reverse the input tax credit, you are eligible to do in your GSTR 9 return. But if you want to claim any input tax credit, then the same will not be allowed. That means clearly this GSTR 9 is saying that if you want to pay something to government, this GSTR 9 is allowing you. But if you want to claim anything from the government, this GSTR 9 is not allowing you. I suppose this concept is okay for you, Ketanji. So first part related to the outward supply, I suppose okay for everyone. Just confirm me once in the chat box. Sir, when we'll cover the ITC related part, we'll cover your query as well. So the first part, outward supply, is okay for everyone. Because when you are going to reverse anything in your GSTR 9 return, you need to reverse through the DRC 03, because you need to show in your GSTR 9 and you need to reverse it in your DRC 03. And when you are going to file the DRC 03, it will be automatically reflected in your electronic credit ledger. Now, next, sir, first part, input tax credit. Yes, definitely we'll take Arjun query of Arjunji as well. Now, second part is related to our input tax credit. And in this second part, we are going to cover the bifurcation of input tax credit, which we have claimed in the GSTR, in the GSTR 9 return. Table 4 and 5, sir. Table 5 is related to not taxable. Table 4 is related to the taxable part. So when I am receiving certain supplies, which is mentioned in section number 9, subsection 3, at that time, I need to make the payment of taxes under reverse charge mechanism. But when I am making certain supply, which is there in section 9, subsection 3, that means the counterparty will pay the tax on that. So that will be the part of your not taxable supply. I suppose the point is okay. Now, the input tax credit related bifurcation. As we all know, in our GSTR 3B, we are going to report the input tax credit as well. Okay. So, merely this GSTR 9 is asking that, sir, you need to provide the details related to the bifurcation of input tax credit as per your books of accounts. Okay. During my GSTR 3B, there may be chances that I have claimed the input tax credit. On account of forward charge. That means on account of my regular supplies. Or there may be chances that I have claimed the input tax credit on account of reverse charge mechanism. Okay. There are two types, and I will be eligible to claim the input tax credit. First is under regular, second is under reverse charge mechanism. Now, sir, as we all know that whenever I am going to import something, that means whenever I am going to buy something from outside India, at that time, I need to make the payment of taxes under reverse charge mechanism, IGST, and I will be eligible to claim the input tax credit. So government is saying that, Mr. Sachin, there may be chances while filing the GSTR 3B return, you have claimed the input tax credit on account of import of goods or import of services. Now, next scenario. Sir, as we all know, as per the second proviso of section 16, subsection 2, I need to make the payment to my creditors within 180 days. And if I am not going to make the payment to my creditors within 180 days, in that case, I need to reverse the input tax credit which I have claimed. Okay. So, suppose during the financial year 2022-23, I have bought certain goods from Mr. X, and I have not made the payment to Mr. X within 180 days. Hence, I have reversed the input tax credit in financial year 2022-23 itself. Now, the point is that related to the second proviso, section 16, subsection 2, that is non-payment to the creditors, I will be eligible to claim that input tax credit again when I will make the payment to my creditors. Suppose financial year 2023-24, I have make the payment to the creditors. or when I have made the payment to my creditors, then I will again eligible to claim the input tax credit. So I have claimed the input tax credit in my GSTR 3B. So government is saying this is also one reason when Mr. Sachin, you have claimed the input tax credit and report the same in your GSTR 9 return. Okay. And sir, one concept is also there, that is input service distributor. If the head office has taken certain services and that services is related to all the branches, then the head office is going to take the registration as a ISD as well, input service distributor, and that head office is going to transfer or distribute the input tax credit. So there may be chances that I am one of the branch of that head office and I have received that input tax credit. So there may be chances that I have claimed the input tax credit as a input service distributor, ISD. So through these type of example, I have just shared the scenario, that these are the scenario under which the taxpayer has claimed the input tax credit, and in my GSTR 9 return, I just need to provide the bifurcation of that input tax credit which I have claimed. Okay, now let's discuss the points or the parts one by one. Third part, input tax credit, and the input tax credit which is shown here, that will be auto populated from your GSTR 3B return on monthly basis which you have filed or quarterly basis which you have filed. Okay, so in this GSTR 3B, this input tax credit will be auto populated from your GSTR 3B return. Okay, now you just need to provide the bifurcation. The first bifurcation, that you have claimed the input tax credit, under forward charge, that is a regular system. And when you are supposed to report the input tax credit under regular, then you need to provide the bifurcation. Government is saying that, Mr. Sachin, there may be chances that you have claimed the input tax credit on account of purchase of input, or on account of input services, or on account of purchase of capital goods. So you just need to provide the bifurcation as well. Now, for financial year 2023-24, we have opportunity. We may provide the consolidated data of input tax credit on account of regular input tax credit for input and input service. Capital goods I need to show separately, and that can be easily identified. When you will check the balance sheet fixed assets chart, you can easily check that this is the addition in the fixed assets chart. You can easily track the input tax credit related to the capital goods. Okay, so input and input service, you may show the consolidated figure, and related to the capital goods, you need to provide the bifurcated input tax credit. So this is the first bifurcation of input tax credit which you have claimed in your GSTR 3B return. Second, there may be chances that you have take certain or receive certain supply on which you have made the payment of taxes under reverse charge mechanism, and you have claimed the input tax credit. There may be chances you have received the supply from registered person or unregistered person. So government is asking that, sir, please provide the bifurcation from registered and unregistered. And Mr. Sachin, when you will provide the bifurcation from registered and unregistered, then provide the bifurcation that you have paid the taxes under reverse charge mechanism on account of input, input service, or capital goods. So again, input and input service, you may show the consolidated figure, but capital goods, you need to show the bifurcation. You need to show the separate amount. Third part, sir, if you have claimed any input tax credit on account of import of goods during the financial year, if you have made any import of goods or services, and on which you have made the payment of taxes under reverse charge mechanism, and you have claimed the input tax credit, then you need to provide the bifurcation. Input tax credit received as an input service distributor, section number 20 of CGST Act. Amount of ITC reclaimed under the provision of this act, that means second proviso to section number 16 subsection 2, when you have claimed the input tax credit on account of the reversal in the previous financial year. So that will be your total. Now, transitional credit are now not relevant. Any other credit ITC availed but not specified above. Now, government is saying that any other ITC which you have availed but not specified above, then you need to report it here. Sir, what do you mean by this any other ITC which I need to report here? How I can identify that this is my any other ITC? So for that purpose, sir, we have multiple ITC related forms, ITC 01, ITC 02, ITC 03. Yes, sir. Yes, Ritesh ji. So in such a scenario, ITC 01, ITC 02, if I have claimed the input tax credit on account of that ITC related forms, then I need to show it here. Okay, then I need to show it here. So my total ITC availed will be auto calculated here. And sir, most important thing, if you are merely filing the GSTR 9 return, then just do one thing. The data which you are going to provide, that means the bifurcation which you are going to provide in this GSTR 9 return, provide as per books of accounts only. Okay. Suppose during the financial year you have claimed certain input tax credit related to last financial year, then in this particular part, bifurcation, when you are going to report, provide the bifurcation as per your current year input tax credit only. So that will be automatically reflected that you have claimed certain input tax credit related to previous financial year as well. Point number 6H is related to ITC reclaimed. Sir, during if I am going to make any purchase and I am not going to make the payment to my creditors within 180 days, then I need to reverse the input tax credit. But in future, if I am going to make the payment to my creditors within after 180 days, then in that financial year, I will be eligible to claim the input tax credit. And suppose during the relevant financial year, that is financial year 2023-24, if you have claimed certain input tax credit which you have reversed in the previous financial year, in that case, you need to show it here. No, this ITC related to financial year 2022-23, you should not report in this any other ITC claimed. Keep the difference so that if there will be any notice, in that case, you will be in a situation to explain that we have provided the bifurcation as per our books of accounts only. Okay, you may report it. There will be no any issue, but you need to require the reconciliation as well. But if there will be the exact figure, then you can easily reconcile the same from the previous financial year, that during the last financial year, we have reported that we have claimed that input in subsequent financial year and the same amount is here. Okay, because from the scrutiny para, they are going to check the differences. Okay, now this part is related to the claim of input tax credit which you have claimed during the financial year. And sir, the important part is there, if you have filed the GSTR 9 return in a perfect way, then you can easily file your GSTR 9C, because your GSTR 9C is merely the reconciliation of books of accounts. In our discussion as well, the discussion on GSTR 9 will take around 1 hour and 20 minutes, and will complete the discussion on GSTR 9C in 30 to 35 minutes or 40 minutes. Okay. Although to discuss the complete things, I required 6 to 7 hours to cover each and every aspect in a very detailed way for this GSTR 9 and 9C return. But I will try to give you the complete insights of GSTR 9C, 9 and the technical points as well. Okay. After reversal, we'll take the queries which is there in the chat box. Okay. Then after we'll move to the next part, but we'll take the queries in thoda briefly. Okay. Now, next part is related to input tax credit. In part number 3rd, we have covered the claim of input tax credit and the bifurcation of claim of input tax credit. Okay. Now, there may be chances that during the financial year, while filing the GSTR 3B return, the taxpayer has reversed certain input tax credit. Now your question will be that, sir, why there is requirement of any reversal? So there may be chances that during the financial year, I have not made the payment to my creditors within 180 days. Hence, I need to reverse the input tax credit. Rule number 37 of CGST rules. There may be chances that I have received certain input tax credit from the input service distributor, but I have received certain excess input tax credit from ISD, so I need to reverse the input tax credit. There may be chances during the financial year I am involved in taxable as well as exempted product. I am involved in the supply of taxable as well as exempted product. In such a scenario, I am taking the input tax credit for the whole inward supply. And through that inward supply, I am going to manufacture the taxable as well as exempted product. In that case, I will not be eligible for the 100% input tax credit, because I will be eligible to claim the input tax credit for the inward supply which I have used for my taxable part only. For exempted, no. And the basic principle is that when you will pay the output tax to the government, then only government will allow you to claim the input tax credit. And if you will not make the payment of outward supply, the outward tax, then you will not be eligible to claim the input tax credit. Okay, this is the logic. So now, rule number 42 is applicable in case of input and input service. Suppose you have used certain input and input service for manufacture of taxable as well as exempted product, then you need to reverse certain input tax credit. Or there may be chances the same is related to the capital goods. Okay. Or there may be chances of reversal of section 17 subsection 5 danger zone, negative list, non-eligibility of input tax credit, blocked credit. Motor vehicles, food, beverages, or construction related things, so you will not be eligible, you need to report it. And other reversals, if there will be any other reversal, suppose reversal due to purchase return, then you need to show it in the other reversals part. So your net ITC available for the utilization will be there. In our ITC related discussion, first we have covered the claim of input tax credit and the bifurcation. Then we have covered the reversal of input tax credit, so the net ITC will be available for the utilization. Okay, so this is the part of my input tax credit. Sir, as per my opinion, credit note should be reported in other reversals if related to the purchase return, so that you can easily report it, and in case of any litigation, in case of any audit, any scrutiny, they can easily use it. Now we'll take certain queries which is there in the chat box. 180 days we have already covered. RCM wala part we have already covered. Sir Ketanji, when you are going to reverse any input tax credit in your GSTR 9 return, definitely you need to show it in your GSTR 9 return. And when you will show it in your GSTR 9 return, you need to reverse it through the DRC 03, because this GSTR 9 is just for the reporting purpose. But actual reversal will only be done through the DRC 03, because when you will file your DRC 03, then only your credit ledger will be affected. I suppose the query of Ketanji is okay. During the year ITC which we reverse, that not show in GSTR 2B, then after we claim it in next month. So if there will be any adjustment during the financial year itself, in a particular month the same is not reported, hence you have reversed that input tax credit. In subsequent month the same has been reported in GSTR 2B and you have claimed the same. In such a scenario, sir, there will be no any requirement to show it in your GSTR 9 return, because the same has already been adjusted in the year itself. So there will be no any requirement, because the same has been adjusted in the financial year itself. If there will be any adjustment which has been done during the subsequent financial year, or if there will be any differences from the books of accounts, then only we need to report it in our GSTR 9 return. Okay, so the matter to ghar ka ghar mein hi solve ho gaya, so we need not to show it. 6M we have already taken. $180 days we have already covered. Yes, Arjunji, the financial year 2022-23 related ITC you have claimed in 2023, definitely it will be auto-populated in your GSTR 3B. So this is completely on you. You can show it in your any other ITC part, or you can keep the difference, so that in case of any litigation, in case of any notice, you will be in a situation to provide the response. Okay, that the input tax credit which we have shown in the last year GSTR 9, the same amount is here. So this is related to my last financial year. Because, sir, most important thing, this GSTR 9 and 9C return is just for the reporting purposes. Okay, and we just need to take it. Yes, you can report it in 6M, so that there will be no any difference at the end. Okay, you can do it, not an issue. Sir, Manish ji, will discuss on 8A as well. Just our next point is 8A. If you have reported, Ritesh ji, if you have reported your credit note in your GSTR 3B return separately, then you need, then your table 6 will not be the net. Okay. Once you have filed the DRC 03, there will be no any option for the rectification. Yes, that reversal, Mukesh ji, that reversal should be shown in other reversals part, your 7H. And if possible, then please specify the thing, because the option is available. During the last financial year, if you have reported any wrong figure in your GSTR 9 return, and in actual you have reported certain other figures in your subsequent month GSTR 3B return, in that case, you just need to keep it as it is in case of any litigation. Okay, if there is requirement of reversal, then definitely you need to reverse it through DRC 03 and intimate the same to your jurisdictional officer. But if you have reversed correctly in your GSTR 3B return, but you have reported the wrong thing in your GSTR 9 return, then keep it as it is. If there will be any notice or litigation, then you need to show to the departmental authority that, sir, we have wrongly shown the figure in our GSTR 9 return, but actually we have taken the correct treatment in my GSTR 3B return. And you can verify the same with our books of accounts. That is what is the solution we have. Sir, the figure which we are going to report in our GSTR 9 return, part number 3, input tax credit, when we are going to provide the bifurcation, that bifurcation should be as per books of accounts only. Sir, we'll discuss 2023-24 related shown in 24-25. We'll discuss the part 10, 11, 12, 13. So your return, import of goods, and in case of your return should be through your debit or credit note, that adjustment should be done. Because if you are going to show it as an export, then all other conditions should be satisfied. So the same should be through your debit or credit note. And you just need to check the agreement as well in case of import. Sir, the applicability of GSTR 9 and 9C will always be based on taxable value. Turnover will always be your taxable value. That will not be including of your taxes figure. I suppose we have taken all the queries. So, sir, the part of outward supply and input tax credit is okay for you. I know there may be chances of multiple queries related to GSTR 9 and 9C because this is the very hot topic in the current scenario. And I also request, if you have any query, then I will provide you my number, okay, my cell phone number. So you just need to WhatsApp me in between evening 6 to 7 p.m. Okay, then we'll connect over call and we may discuss the queries as well, because I suppose this will not be possible to take all the queries in this particular session of 2 hours on the GSTR 9 and 9C. So definitely you may connect on the WhatsApp number this. Okay. No, that will not be included 2024-25. When we have covered our outward supply, that time also we have taken this specific thing that if you have reported something during the subsequent financial year within the timeline of section 16 subsection 4, then that will be the excluded of that. Okay. On the PPT, the number will be there. So I have shared the WhatsApp number of my office. You just need to WhatsApp on this number. They will give you the time and we may connect. But text in between 6 to 7. Okay. So the queries can be taken. Now, the most important part of this segment, that is reconciliation from the GSTR 2B, because now this year onwards we need to provide the reconciliation from GSTR 2B and GSTR 3B. Now there is a lot of issues, sir. Because the GSTR 2B, the figure which is coming in the GSTR 9 return, there may be chances in 40 to 50% cases, the figure which is coming in the GSTR 9 is not correct as per the 2B, which is generated in the GSTN common portal. Or there may be chances the figure which is coming in your GSTR 2B, certain figures related to previous year is also showing in your GSTR 2B. In that case, the biggest question is that how we can prepare the reconciliation. So, sir, as per my opinion, you should do one thing. Just download the GSTR 2B. Just download the GSTR 2B from the GSTN common portal. Okay. Calculate the input tax credit which is related to the current financial year only. And then after, compare that input tax credit with your GSTR 3B. And that will be your separate reconciliation. Okay. Because there are a lot of issues. In financial year 2017, 18, 18, 19, 19, 20, 20, 21, when we have filed the GSTR 9 return, at that time also there were certain wrong data auto-populated in the table 8A. The same thing is there. Okay, so for that purpose, we just need to do one thing, prepare one separate reconciliation as per the perfect ITC of GSTR 2B. If there will be any difference in this table 8, keep it as it is. In case of any litigation, your reconciliation should be there and you just need to provide one reply that, sir, the input tax credit which is reflected in GSTR 9 is not correct and the proper reconciliation is ready with us and we are submitting the same. That is what is the option we have and we should follow this approach only. Now, let's discuss the reason of differences between the 2B and 3B. The input tax credit which you have claimed in your GSTR 3B return and the input tax credit which is reflected in GSTR 2B. For covering this specific reconciliation, I am taking this assumption that the data which is reflected in GSTR 2B is perfect. Okay. Otherwise, I have already provided you the solution as per my opinion. Okay. Now, in my GSTR 2B and 3B, the reason of difference is why there will be a chances of differences. So, first reason, suppose, sir, certain input tax credit which is available in my GSTR 2B, but I have not claimed in GSTR 3B. Okay. So, the first reason of difference is that ITC available but not availed. Second reason, sir, there may be chances that the ITC which is available in GSTR 2B, but I am not eligible to claim the same. So, the second reason, ITC available but ineligible. And from the analysis of the books of accounts, when you will generate the item wise summary from the books of accounts, each and every accounting software is perfect. I am always saying that to file the GSTR 9 and 9C return, perfect filing of GSTR 9 and 9C return will always be or completely based on the data provided by your client. We just need to demand the perfect data from our client. Okay. No, sir, this is not mandatorily required to show ITC available but not availed, ITC available but ineligible. But if you are able to quantify the figures, because it is very easy, so you just need to put the figure so that there will be no any differences and chances of litigation will be very less. Okay, that is what is the thing we need to follow. So the first reason, ITC available but not availed, ITC available but ineligible, and there may be chances, sir, certain input tax credit which is available in my GSTR 2B, but I have claimed in subsequent financial year within the timeline of section 16 subsection 4, then the same will not be there. So that is what is also one difference, that the ITC which is related to the current financial year but claimed during the subsequent financial year within the timeline of section 16 subsection 4. So that should be reported here. And that is my ITC available but not availed, ITC available but ineligible. And if there will be any remaining ITC, that will be lapse, because as per section 16 subsection 4, the timeline has already been expired, so the remaining ITC will be lapse, and that figure will be automatically here. And one reconciliation is also demanding in this part related to IGST import of goods. So you need to show that under import of goods, IGST, I have paid this amount, I have claimed the input tax credit. Okay, suppose you have paid the taxes under reverse charge mechanism on account of import of goods 5,000 rupees, and you have claimed the input tax credit as 5,000 rupees, then okay. But suppose if you have paid 5,000, you have claimed 4,000, then the 1,000 will be shown here. This is the, you can say, separate part related to import of goods related ITC. But in case of normal ITC, only 3 scenario will be there: claimed during the subsequent financial year, available but not availed, available but ineligible. That is what is the bifurcation of reconciliation of input tax credit as per GSTR 2B. Okay, so in first part we have covered the outward supply and related bifurcation. In second part we have covered the input tax credit and related bifurcation. Okay, now, sir, through my GSTR 3B, I am going to pay the taxes to the government. Okay, and I am going to pay the taxes on my outward supply after adjusting the input tax credit. After adjustment of input tax credit, I am going to pay the taxes on my outward supply. Okay, sir, we'll take your queries. Just give me 15 to 20 minutes. We'll take your queries as well. Okay, so now we'll cover the GSTR 9 part, then we'll take the query, then we'll cover GSTR 9C. Okay, so thank you to all. You are making this session as much as interactive and you are asking the queries. It's really a great moment, because if you are asking the queries, it means that you are understanding something. Okay, so, and this is a healthy discussion for all of us. Now, sir, the part number 4 of this GSTR 9 is related to the tax payable. Okay, now government is just want to cross verify. After the cross verification of your outward supply of your input tax credit, now government is saying that Mr. Sachin, you have reported the outward supply correctly, input tax credit correctly, but our main motto is to collect the revenue. So you have paid the correct tax to us or not? That is what is the main point, and we just want to cross verify the same as well. And for that purpose, they have introduced this specific part number 4. And in that part number 4, they are asking for the reconciliation of tax payable. Okay. So in this particular field, all these details are auto-populated. And these details will be auto-populated from your GSTR 3B. Okay. And these fields are non-editable. These fields are non-editable. You are not able to edit these fields. But this part, tax payable, is completely editable. Suppose in your GSTR 3B, there is certain differences between your books of accounts and your GSTR 3B. You have reported the less tax in your GSTR 3B. You have paid the less tax in your GSTR 3B. But while filing the GSTR 9 return under outward supply, we need to show the tax payable as per books of accounts. Am I right? We need to show the tax payable as per our books of accounts. So in such a scenario, you just need to adjust this tax payable as per your books of accounts. No, sir. As we have already covered the same point in beginning of our session, that if you want to pay anything to the government, you can pay through GSTR 9, but you will not be eligible to reduce any outward supply or claim any input tax credit in your GSTR 3B 9. You may show the reduced figure here, but you cannot take any benefit of that. Okay, obviously you need to show the perfect figure as per your books of accounts tax payable here. Okay, suppose this is 1,90,000 you have reported as your tax payable as per your books of accounts. Then you have adjusted CGST, SGST, IGST. Now suppose you have paid less tax, then the balance will automatically there, the difference will be there. Okay, the same will not be visible. But if you are going to reduce this figure from the tax payable, then the automatically difference will be there. And as per tax payable and the non-editable part, if there will be any difference in tax payable, then you need to pay the same through the DRC 03. That is what is the option which is available with us. So we can pay the taxes through DRC 03. So this is my advice to you. Whenever there will be a difference between the tax payable, that is GSTR 3B, and books of accounts, and you have prepared your part 1 or part 2 related to outward supply from your books of accounts, then just edit this field as per the part number 2, so that there will be any tax payable, pay it through DRC 03. So this will the perfect reporting of the data in your GSTR 9 return. Okay, so that is what is the option which is available, and this is my part number 4. Now no, Vipulji, I am not saying that you can take the higher figure. Okay, as per books of accounts we should take. Suppose in your GSTR 3B you have already paid the excess taxes and you have not adjusted within the timeline of section 16 subsection 4, then it will be clearly reflected that you have adjusted certain excess figures, but you will not be eligible to claim the input tax credit, or you will not be eligible to adjust the figure, or you will not be eligible to claim something from the government. Okay, Vipulji. Now, sir, any input tax credit or outward liability related things which is related to the previous financial year, that means related to the financial year 2023-24, that is current financial year, which you have made the adjustments during the subsequent financial year within the timeline of section 16 subsection 4, then you need to report it in the part number 10, 11, 12 and 13. Your point 10 and 11 is related to your outward supply, and 12 and 13 is related to input tax credit. Okay, if you have paid any taxes during the subsequent financial year, show it here. If you have reduced the outward liability, show it here. If you have claimed the input tax credit, show it here. If you have reversed the input tax credit, show it here. And while feeding the data in 10, 11, 12, 13, just keep one thing in your mind related to the input tax credit. Sir, in our 8 number, part number 8, we have reported the input tax credit related to the current financial year claimed during the subsequent financial year. And when I am using the word claim, it includes reversal. So the same figure which I am going to report here, the same should be reported here. Okay, the same should be reported here. In case of reversal, negative figure should be reported in the 8, and the amount should be reported in reversal part. That is what is the thing we need to do. This is also our mandatory table. Now, next part. When you are reporting something related to the financial year 2023-24 during the subsequent financial year within the timeline of section 16 subsection 4, in such a scenario, government is asking that, Mr. Sachin, suppose related to financial year 2023-24, you have reported a sales of 1 lakh rupees during 24-25. Okay, tax is 18,000 rupees. Then we just want to ensure that as you have reported in your GSTR 1 return that 18,000 ka tax, whether you have paid the same in your GSTR 3B. And for that assurance, they are asking the data in this part. So suppose that 1 lakh at the rate of 18%, 18,000, I need to report 18,000 payable, and I have already paid the taxes in my GSTR 3B of the respective month. Okay, that is what is the thing I need to report. Then Part number 6, which is completely optional. If you want to submit the details, you can submit. If you don't want to submit, it's completely on you. Okay, so now in this part number 6, we need to report the details related to the refund and details related to demand during the financial year. If there will be any refund claimed, refund sanctioned, refund pending, refund rejected, we need to provide the figures. Or related to demand, demand paid, or demand which is still pending, we need to provide the bifurcation. But this is my optional part. I want to submit, I can submit. If I don't want to submit, okay. Then 16. Point number 16 is also a optional part. In that part, I just need to provide the details related to yes, if the ITC has been claimed during the subsequent month, then we need to report it separately so that it will be a separate bifurcation. ITC supply received from the composition dealer or these deemed supply under section 143, that is, if there will be any supply to the job worker, then if the same will not be returned within the specified time, 1 year or 3 year, in case of capital goods, then the same will be treated as deemed supply or the goods sent on approval basis. These figures should be reported in this part number 16, but this is also optional part. If you want to submit, you can submit. If you want to ignore, ignore it. Then HSN code wise summary. In case of outward supply, HSN code wise summary is mandatory. For HSN code, for outward, it is mandatorily required. But for input tax credit or inward supply, this is not mandatorily required. If your turnover is 5 crore or more, then 6-digit HSN code wise summary is required. If your turnover is less than 5 crore, then 4-digit HSN code wise summary is okay. But whenever you are going to provide the HSN code wise summary, because the same will be auto populated from your GSTR1 return, so keep one thing in your mind, that should be reconciled with your books of accounts, so that the total sales will be reconciled. Okay, that is what is the thing we need to do related to our HSN code wise summary. For inward supply, this is not mandatorily required. Okay, so in our GSTR9, first part is auto populated. The maximum data will be auto populated. In second part, we need to provide the details related to outward supply, and we need to provide two bifurcation of outward supply. One is related to taxable part, another is related to not taxable part. Under taxable part, we need to provide the details related to B2B, B2CS, export with payment of tax, special economic zone with payment of tax, advances, and the deemed export. Related debit and credit note and amendments. Under not taxable part, I need to provide the details related to zero rated supply, exempted supply, reverse charge mechanism, export without payment of taxes, related debit and credit notes and amendments. Then we have covered the part number 3rd, that is my input tax credit. We need to provide the bifurcation of input tax credit, regular input tax credit, and the input tax credit on account of reverse charge mechanism. Input service, capital goods. Import of goods, import of services, ITC reclaimed or ITC on account of input service distributor, or ITC which is not shown, not specified above. Then the reversal related to the same, rule number 37, 180 days में reversal नहीं हुआ, payment नहीं हुआ, then reversal will be there. Rule number 39, input service distributor, rule number 42, 43, and section 17, subsection 5, and other reversals. Then we have covered the tax payable table that should be reconciled with our books of accounts, and tax payable figure is editable. Then we have covered the part number 5 related to the showing of input tax credit or outward liability related adjustments related to the financial year 2023-24, which we have reported during the subsequent financial year. And we have also covered the reconciliation of input tax credit from GSTR 2B and the 3B. And then we have covered certain optional tables, refund and demand, and the supply from composition dealer, and the deemed supply under section 143 of CGST Act, and the specific goods sent on approval basis, and the HSN code wise summary. For outward summary, outward supply, this is mandatorily required. For inward supply, this is optional. Is that okay? This is my GSTR 9 annual return. We'll take certain queries. So Ritesh, for that purpose, we have specifically mentioned that when we are going to show the outward supply input tax credit in the GSTR 9 return, we'll show it for the current financial year only. Okay, so the difference will be there and the same should be reconciled with your last year GSTR 9. Yes, Arjunji, if you have shown certain sales related to 2023-24 during the financial year 2024-25, then definitely you need to show it in the 10 or 11 part, and you need to show the tax liability as well, that this is the amount and I have paid this amount to the government, so that government can confirm that yes, you have made the payment of taxes. Yes, Ritesh, if any input tax credit which is related to the current financial year, but due to non-reflection in GSTR 2B, you have claimed in subsequent financial year, then also you need to report it that we have claimed it in the subsequent month, because actually you have claimed it in the subsequent month. Okay, because in 2B, in subsequent financial year, the same will be coming with the current year date only. So we need to report it. Sir, that liability is related to financial year 2022-23 and you are going to reverse it. So in point number 12, we are just going to show the details or the input tax credit which we have adjusted during the subsequent financial year. Related to previous financial year, we are not supposed to report anything in 10, 11, 12 and 13. 10, 11, 12 and 13 is specifically related to the current financial year which we have claimed during the subsequent financial year. Mukesh ji already provided the response. 10, 11, 12 and 13 is specifically related to the current financial year, the ITC or the outward supply related adjustments which we have made during the subsequent financial year within the timeline of section 16 subsection 4. Ravi ji, hence I am saying that is what is the issue, that in your 8A there is certain issues, the data which is coming is not correct. So side by side you just need to prepare one reconciliation as well with the perfect data of GSTR 2B, that is 8A, and your books of accounts, that is 3B, and prepare ready this reconciliation. And if there will be any difference because the data is not correct and you are not able to edit that particular figure, so keep the difference as it is, okay, so that we can argue in case of any litigation. That is what is the option we have, and we should follow that approach. Bhumika ji, if the sales is actual sales is 9.6 as per books of accounts, then you need to report that sales as per books of accounts. But you are saying that in your books of accounts also the sales is 9.2. Then how there is any excess sales? That means that will be not in your records. Then how you are going to report it in your GSTR 9 return? If the dealer has missed to show certain sales during the financial year 2023-24 itself, then report it in your GSTR 9. Okay, when you are going to feed the details in your GSTR 9 part number second, outward supply related details, at that time you need to report it as per books of accounts, so that your liability will automatically enhance and pay the taxes through DRC 03. That is what is the option which we have. Sir, I am requesting that if there will be any big query, then please connect our call so that we can discuss, because we have just half an hour and we need to discuss GSTR 9C as well. Although we'll take the queries. So we have covered this point. Now, Yes, if you have already claimed the net input tax credit in your GSTR 3B, then you need to show the net figures in your GSTR 9 as well. Then you're not supposed to show in other reversal, because if you are going to report it in other reversal, in that case there will be certain issues mismatch. Okay. Yes, if you have not reported the B2CS related sales, then you can report it in your GSTR 19 and pay the relevant taxes. I suppose all the queries has been completed. Now, let's move to the specific reconciliation statement, that is GSTR 9C, reconciliation statement. In our GSTR 9, we have reported the sales, the purchase related input tax credit, and we have compared the same with our books of accounts. Now in 9C, if the turnover is 5 crore or more, then there will be requirement, mandatorily requirement to file the GSTR 9C return. And through that GSTR 9C return, government is asking for the reconciliation. Government is asking for the reconciliation of your turnover with the books of accounts, of your input tax credit with your books of accounts. Why? Because government wants the assurance that Mr. Sachin has filed the GSTR 1 return, paid the taxes to the filed the GSTR 9 return, paid the taxes to the government, is in line with the books of accounts or not. That is what is the thing they require. Hence, this GSTR 9C is there, and they want to compare the same with your books of accounts. Okay. So they have also divided this GSTR 9C in certain parts. Okay. Sir, I require your 100% focus on this GSTR 9C. Okay, are you ready? Just confirm me once in the chat box. Are you ready to learn the GSTR 9C? And you have get certain idea related to GSTR 9. All the parts, outward, input, everything is there in your mind. I suppose the picture is clear in your mind and you get certain idea about the GSTR 9, and when you will file the GSTR 9, I suppose it will be helpful. And if you will face any issue, then you may connect with me. Okay, I will definitely respond, because in chat box there may be chances that I will not be able to provide response for certain queries due to very heavy queries. So we may connect over call. That is what is the option we have. Yes, definitely. You can adjust the liability through credit ledger. DRC03, you can adjust the figure from your credit ledger. But if you are going to show anything in your GSTR 9C and you are going to pay something to the government, then you need to use the cash ledger. Okay. Now, sir, this GSTR 9C is nothing. This is just a reconciliation of your turnover from the books of accounts and reconciliation of your input tax credit from the books of accounts. These two parameters are there. Okay. Now, first, government is asking that the turnover which you have reported in the income tax audit report, just reconcile that turnover with your GSTR 9 which you have filed. Okay, because first we need to file the GSTR 9, then we need to file the GSTR 9C. Okay, but as per my opinion, first we need to prepare the GSTR 9, then we need to prepare the GSTR 9C, then we need to file the GSTR 9 and then 9C. Because I am completely dealing in the litigations under GST. So I know the importance of the GSTR 9 and 9C very well. And we all know that today we are with the maximum number of advocates. So I suppose they are also dealing in the litigations as well. And under GST, filing the returns is not a big task. Anyone can file the returns because these are just a format. But the important thing is that how we can file the perfect return. That is what is the question. Okay. Now, in first part 9C, we need to provide the reconciliation of turnover as per books of accounts and as per GSTR 9. Okay. Now, when I am going to take the turnover as per books of accounts, then suppose I have one branch is at Jodhpur, another branch is at Gujarat, third branch is at Maharashtra. And the income tax audit is for the one audit is there because all these three entities are under the same PAN number. Then when I am going to report the turnover as per my books of accounts, then my question is that I need to report the turnover as per the audit report, the consolidated turnover. Yes or no? You can provide in the chat box. Yes or no? because this is asking that the turnover as per books of accounts. So I need to take the turnover as per the audit report. My friend Nikhilji is saying no, and other participants are saying yes. So definitely no. When we are going to report the turnover in this specific field, we need to show the turnover relevant to the GSTN only. Okay. That means the income tax audit report is consolidated for all the three GSTNs, all the three branches. But as we all know, whenever there will be 2 to 3, then consolidation will be there. Chartered accountant is going to consolidate the data. So we can easily extract the relevant turnover of that GSTN, and I need to report the relevant extract of the turnover in this particular field. This is the first point which we have covered. Okay. Now, this is my turnover of books of accounts, and then I have GSTR 9. I need to compare it. Now, government has also identified certain reasons. Sir, there may be chances of difference between the turnover of books of accounts and the turnover which we have reported in GSTR 9. So there may be chances of differences. So government has also identified the reason. Government को भी लगा कि यार there may be chances of certain differences. So government has also identified certain reasons, and government has reported the same in this GSTR 9C. Okay, government has reported the same in this GSTR 9C. Let's discuss the reasons one by one. I am just going to share with you the examples. Okay, so just try to get the points related to the differences. Now, this is my turnover as per books of accounts. This is my turnover as per GSTR 9. There may be chances of differences. So government has also identified certain reasons. Okay. Most probably we need to extend the session for 10 minutes. Okay. Is that okay for everyone? We'll conclude by 7:10. We'll try to conclude it by 7, but there may be chances of extension of 10 to 15 minutes. So the turnover as per books of accounts and the turnover as per the GSTR 9. Okay. There may be chances of certain differences for the reasons. Okay. So the first reason, sir, there may be chances of certain differences, and the first reason, there may be chances of advances. Suppose, as we all know, in case of advances, I am a professional trainer. Okay, I am providing the training services. One of the association or one of the institute has booked my appointment for a training session, और उन्होंने बोला, Mr. Sachin, you need to take one session in the month of suppose January. Okay, and in the November month, they have paid me advance of 1 lakh rupees. That this is the advance of 1 lakh rupees. So I have received the advances on account of services. Okay. So as per GST, as per the time of supply provision, section number 13, as we all know that whenever I am going to receive certain advances on account of services, I need to make the payment of GST at the time of receipt of advances. The same will not be applicable in case of goods. Okay. So when I am going to pay the taxes on account of my advances, I am going to pay the tax, but I am not going to book the income in my books of accounts. Okay. Just convert this example that I need to take certain session in the month of May, and I have received the advances in the month of March 2024 itself. So when I will file the March 2024 GSTR 3B return, I am going to pay the taxes to the government on that 1 lakh rupees, but I am not going to report as income in the month of March, or when I am going to file my income tax audit, I am not going to report it as my sales of services. So this is the one probable reason of differences, that is advances. Okay. Second example, unbilled revenue. I just want to give you the example, and through that I just want to explain you the terms, because while making the reconciliation with the books of accounts, if we are going to reconcile in case of MNCs and in case of big companies, then these are the probable issues. So we'll just try to clarify through the example, so it will be helpful for everyone. So advances on account of services. Second example, unbilled revenue. Sir, suppose I have one premises and I have given it on rent. Okay, I am getting the rent on that premises. Okay, and that rent is going to accrue on 31st March 2024. Okay, and this is my accrued rent, so I am going to book it as my income in my books of accounts. When I am going to file my income tax audit report, I am going to report it in my turnover. Okay, or whether it will be a part of your profit and loss account, whatever will be. But in GST, as we all know, that I am going to receive the amount, or I am going to issue the invoice on 14th of April. That means 14th of subsequent month, as per my agreement, okay, between me and between the tenant. So in such a situation, as we all know the time of supply principle, that within 30 days provision of invoice ke, provision of service ke within 30 days, if there will be invoicing, then the date of invoicing will be the time of supply. So in that case, the time of supply will be 14th of April. And I am going to pay the tax under GST on 14th of April. Am I right? I am going to pay the tax under GST on 14th of April, but in my books of accounts, I have already reported the sales on accrual basis. So this is also one reason of difference between the turnover as per the audit report and as per the GSTR 9, that is unbilled revenue. Sir, we have a specific section, or we have a specific section of section 7, that is supply, S47, S4 supply. And we have a schedule number 1. And as per schedule number 1 is saying that if there will be no any consideration, then also the same will be treated as supply. And they have provided one specific list. So the first thing which is there in the schedule number 7 is related to my disposal of the business assets, permanent transfer of disposal of business assets. If there will be a disposal of business assets for no any consideration, in that case also I need to determine the value as per the valuation rules 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 31A, 32, and I need to pay the taxes on that. So in such a situation, I am going to pay the tax in my GSTR 3B, but I am not going to report it in my audit report income tax turnover, because I have not received any consideration. Second, if there will be any supply between the distinct person, related parties, branches, if there will be any supply between the principal and agent, if there will be any import of services, and I am saying that I have not received any consideration, then also I need to pay the taxes under GST record, but I am not going to report it in my audit report turnover. So these all are the examples of deemed supply. Sir, there may be chances of certain credit notes. Okay. And these credit notes are financial credit notes. If the terms of discount has been decided after the invoice, then that will be treated as my financial discount, financial credit note will be issued. In such a situation, the same will be affect your income tax card turnover, but there will be no any effect on your GST, because the financial credit note will be issued. So certain credit and debit note which is allowed in the books of accounts or as per the income tax, but the same is not allowed as per GST reports. That is my credit and debit note. There may be chances that, sir, during that financial year 2023-24, first 6 months I have opted for the composition dealer. For the subsequent 6 months, I have for the regular scheme or regular taxable person. Okay. In such a situation, when I was under composition dealer, I have not reported any sales in my GSTR 3B. I was just basically filing the CMP 08. But in my income tax audit report, the complete turnover will be there for whole year. So this is also one reason for difference, that is my composition. I suppose you are getting the points with examples so that it will be simplified for you and you can easily understand the things. There may be chances of certain foreign exchange fluctuations. In case of foreign exchange fluctuations, we need to determine the value as per the valuation rules. But in my income tax, I am going to book it on the actual value. So there may be chances of difference between the turnover of audit report and the GST returns. That is my foreign exchange fluctuations. So we can say these are the probable reason of differences. And any other reason is also there. Okay, government has also provided one specific option 5O, and through that government has mentioned any other option which is not specified above. So you can report it here. And this is my advice to you. Whenever you are going to put any figure in your point number 5O, under your reason part, you just need to provide the reason and explanation why you have reported a figure in your point number 54, so that in case of any litigation, you can easily use the same. Okay. So unbilled revenue, unadjusted advances, the deemed supply, the credit note, allowed it, not allowed it, we have already covered. Composition dealer, foreign exchange fluctuations, and there may be chances of valuation rules, section 15, and various valuation rules, because under GST, when I am going to pay the tax to the government, then this valuation plays a very important role. But in income tax, I am going to report the actual transaction value. Or I am always saying that if you want to grow your practice in the field of GST, then don't focus merely on filing of the returns, merely filing of GSTR 9 and 9C, and merely filing of returns. There is a very huge scope in the litigation, in the GST implementation. And now the departmental authorities are issuing the notices merely on account of the differences. When they will start issuing the notices related to value of supply, related to time of supply, related to place of supply, related to refund, related to various penal provisions, or related to the term supply itself, then there will be a very huge number of litigations. So we all should be prepared on that. Abhi to department bhi atka hua hai reconciliation pe, 3B or 2B par hi wo bhi atka hua hai. But whenever they are going to focus on these areas, then there will be a huge lacuna is there in GST. Okay. So come to our today's topic. Now, the first reconciliation is related to turnover. We are supposed to report the turnover as per audited financial statement, and your GSTR 9 turnover will be there. And we have covered the specific reasons of the differences. Now, if your difference is not due to these reasons, sir, take one example for that as well. Sir, when we are going to report the turnover as per audited financial statement, I am going to report that turnover from my trading account, basically. But there may be chances certain income is there in profit and loss account. Suppose certain incentive is there in profit and loss account. Suppose there is certain trade interest is there in the profit and loss account. So in your GSTR 9, you have already paid the taxes, but annual return audit report, you have not reported because you are taking the turnover from the trading account. So you just need to show that figure in this point number 54, any other adjustments, and provide the explanation. Like इसमें जैसे provide करवा रखा है इस particular field में, explanation regarding point number 54, we have issued interest related debit and credit note, so this is the specific figure of difference. So this will be a clarification for the government, and in case of any litigation, we can also use it. So this is the first and the most crucial and most important part of your GSTR 9C related to the turnover reconciliation. Now government is saying that Mr. Sachin, you have provided the reconciliation of turnover. We also want to identify the taxable turnover only. That means you just need to exclude all other turnover related to zero rated, related to your special economic zone, related to your exempted, related to your reverse charge mechanism. So they have provided this part number 7. In this annual turnover, after above adjustment and after adjustment, just reduce the exempted turnover, zero rated turnover, the RCM supply. So your taxable turnover will be there, and that should be reconciled with your GSTR 9. That will be auto populated. Okay. So this is very simple. So now, after reconciliation of the turnover, Ketan ji, I have already shared the WhatsApp number. So this is just the reconciliation of turnover. Now government is saying, basically, sir, our purpose is to take the revenue as well, and we just want to verify the revenue as well. So can you please provide us the reconciliation of taxes which you have paid with your books of accounts? Okay. And in that particular field, government is asking for the rate-wise reconciliation of your payment of taxes with your books of accounts. Okay. So for that purpose, you just need to provide the data that this is my sales of 5%, 12%, 18%, 28%. This is my interest, this is my penalty, 0.10%, 0.3%, or 3%, whatever will be the rate. I just need to provide the details. Now, sir, one question is that, sir, how we can prepare the rate-wise outward liability from the books of accounts? So just one technique is there. You can download or you can generate the GSTR1 from the accounting software, whatever will be the accounting software, annual consolidated. Okay. Then put one filter on B2B on the GST number. Suppose the taxpayer is registered in Jodhpur, Rajasthan. That means state code is 08. So put one filter on GSTN and give the command that begin with 08. When you will put that specific command that is begin with 08, then all the intra-state supply will be there. Then one put filter on the rate, 5%, 12%, 18%, prepare the summary. Again, repeat that filter on the GSTN, does not begin with 08. So all inter-state supply will be there. Then calculate the rate wise 5%, 12%, 18%, 28%. Then same thing for B2CS, same thing for CDNR, same thing for debit note. So your consolidated summary will be there from the books of accounts, and it will be very easy for you. It will just take 5 to 7 minutes. Okay. Because I know certain accounting software are not capable to generate the rate wise summary. So this is the way we can use. Or also, if the system is generating the rate wise summary, then we can follow this method and cross verify. Because for filing the return, perfect return, there is requirement that the data which has been sent or shared by our client, we just need to verify the authenticity of that data. Because we all know that there may be chances that the accounting software is generating the wrong reports. So we just need to verify the same. When we are generating the consolidated GSTR 3B, once compare the input tax credit with item wise purchase summary, outward supply, compare once with sales register. Okay, that is what is the way we have, and we can follow and we can track the things. Okay. And this tax liability will be compared with the total tax which you have paid in your GSTR 9 in your part 4 tax payable. Okay. And that tax payable part is your editable part. You can edit as per books of accounts. So now in this particular table 9C, form 9C, they are going to cross verify that the tax which you have paid in GSTR 9 or the tax which you have shown in your GSTR 9, the same is reconciling with your books of accounts. So this will be the assurance. And with that, government is also providing an option that if there will be any unreconciled payment, then you may provide the response. So the first part we have covered, that is my turnover reconciliation. Second part, tax liability reconciliation. Now government is saying, Mr. Sachin, you have provided the reconciliation of turnover and tax liability. So now can you please provide us the reconciliation of your input tax credit? Because this is also a very important fact for us. So we need to provide the reconciliation of input tax credit which we have claimed in our books of accounts and which we have claimed in our GSTR 3B, or the consolidated figure which we have shown in our GSTR 9 annual return. Now, हमारी government बहुत समझदार है. They also know that there may be chances of certain reasons for the differences. So they have also identified two reasons. The first reason, they said that Mr. Sachin, there may be a probability that related to the last financial year, that means financial year 2022-23, you have claimed or reversed certain input tax credit during the current financial year, that is financial year 2023-24. So the same will be there in your GSTR 9, but the same will not be there in your books of accounts, because in your books of accounts the same were there in your 2022-23. So this is the first reason of differences. Okay. So ITC booked in earlier financial year, claimed during the financial year, and when I am going to use the word claim, it includes reversal as well. And the second part, there may be chances certain input tax credit which is related to the current financial year claimed during the subsequent financial year or reversed during the subsequent financial year, then the same will be there in your books of accounts, but the same will not be there in your GSTR 9 or GSTR 3B because you have claimed in the subsequent month or subsequent period. So ITC related to the current financial year claimed during the subsequent financial year, you need to report. So your final ITC as per the audited books of accounts will be there, and you just need to reconcile that ITC with your GSTR 9. That means the ITC which you have claimed. Because in my GSTR 9, I am going to reconcile the figures and I am going to show the figure as per my GSTR 3B. So if now there will be any unreconciled input tax credit, then we need to provide the reason. Reversal is required, then show the amount and reverse it. Claim is required, then you will not be eligible to claim. Just put the note that related to the financial year, this is the amount of input tax credit which we have not claimed during the financial year, also within the timeline of section 16 subsection 4, hence the same has been lapsed. That is what is the option we need to do. Okay, but as per my opinion, you should do one thing: file your GSTR 9 return in a perfect way, so there will be no any difference in your 9C. There will be no any requirement to show any note for the unreconciled turnover or unreconciled input tax credit, so the chances of litigation will be less. Because as we all know, scrutiny and the audit will be completely based on your system generated summaries. So if there will be any red highlight, then departmental authority will come with you that Mr. Sachin, this is the notice. And then after we need to provide multiple things to the departmental authority, reply and all other things. And then after we need to settle the matter. That is what is the thing. Now, next table or next part is the optional part. Okay. Government is saying that the input tax credit which you have claimed in your GSTR 3B or shown in GSTR 9 with the books of accounts, can you please provide the bifurcation of input tax credit item wise? Although now multiple accountant softwares are capable to generate that particular summary, so that you can easily generate the headwise input tax credit. Okay, but this is optional table. If you want to submit, you may submit. If you don't want, then ignore it. And in that case, you need to provide the headwise input tax credit, that this amount of input tax credit is related to my purchase, this amount is related to my freight, this amount is power and fuel, this is rent related, this is royalties, this is employees cost, convenience. I need to show, and any other option is also there. But just keep one thing: whenever you are going to provide the bifurcation in this specific part, just ensure the total of your bifurcation should be reconciled with this figure which you have reported as per the books of accounts, because you are providing the bifurcation of that input tax credit only. So the amount should be reconciled with that consolidated figure. कई बार क्या होता है, हम उसको शो करने के चक्कर में ये भूल जाते हैं कि इन दोनों को भी रिकंसाइल करवाना है. या तो आप शो ही मत करो, और if you are going to show something, then show it in a perfect way. Okay, so now this is the specific thing we need to report. Then the same should be reconciled with your GSTR 9, and if there will be any unreconciled input tax credit, then we need to provide the reason, and the unreconciled figure should be same as the same in case of ITC reconciliation. Okay, now then the last part is related to additional liability. Suppose, sir, sorry, there may be chances, additional liability, there may be chances on certain supply you have not paid the taxes during the financial year within the timeline of section 16 subsection 4 or in the GSTR 9 itself. Just take one example. You have filed the GSTR 9 return. While filing the GSTR 9C return, you have checked one term is there in the profit and loss account, that is interest. Okay, so you have demanded the interest ledger from the client. In that interest ledger, you found that certain entries are related to trade interest due to the trade transaction, trade related transactions. So you have said that on this particular amount we need to pay the GST, but we have not paid in GSTR 9 the specific month. So now we are going to report it in the GSTR 9C. So that is my additional liability which we have not paid in GSTR 9 itself. So now we are going to report, and when we are going to report, suppose on that interest we are paying the tax at the rate of 18%. So show that figure here. And when you are going to show the additional liability related to financial year 2023-24 in the GSTR 9C return, then keep one thing in your mind: you also need to pay the interest as well. Okay. So this is the additional liability which we have not reported till date, and then after the part will be attachments. So when you will file the GSTR 9C return, you need to attach your audit report, trading profit and loss account, form number 3CD, 3CB. Okay, so in the GSTR 9C return, first we need to provide the turnover reconciliation, second is tax liability reconciliation, third is ITC reconciliation, and fourth part is related to the any other liability which we have not reported till date. Then we can report it in the GSTR 9C. Okay, one or two important point I just want to discuss with you, that sir, before filing the 9 and 9C return, and when you are going to prepare the data on 9 and 9C return, try to conduct one exit meeting with your client. This is also very much required, because we have a specific problem that client is not paying the fees for GSTR 9 and 9C, or they are paying a very less fees. So we need to present something that we are making certain extra efforts for you. We just need to conduct one exec meeting. We need to ask with our client that, sir, during the financial year, any additional place is there? Try to understand the nature of the business of your client, and through that nature of business, if you found that my client is providing the job work to other persons, then ensure that the other person is registered or unregistered. And if the other person is unregistered, then the same has been added in additional place of business or not. Try to check the HSN code which is mentioned on the GSTN common portal and ensure that the same is in line with the invoices which the client is going to issue. Check during the financial year, there is no any additional place of business, there is no any changes in the particulars of proprietor, changes in the particulars of director. That should also be part of your GSTN common portal. Try to ensure that the bank account is reported correctly. The principal place of business is perfect. You need to ask that the GSTN related board is displayed on the premises or not, because, sir, most important thing, this GSTR 9 and 9C is not merely the reconciliation. This is annual closing, and when we are going to close the accounts from the GST perspective, then we also need to check the things from the GST perspective, that everything is fine or not, the compliances are perfect or not. Try to check the additional notices tab, that there will be any notice or not, the client has provided the proper response or not, kahin hamari team se hi koi mistake ho gayi, koi notice miss to nahi ho gaya, because multiple clients are there, multiple notices are there. So we need to keep that particular point, that particular fact also in our mind. Try to prepare one checklist. Also, I have prepared one checklist for filing the GSTR 9 and 9C. So we'll try to share with you so that you can check that particular specific checklist, because when we are filing the 9 and 9C return, we just need to ensure that valuation is perfect, time of supply related provisions are fulfilled or not, the rate which the client is charging is perfect or not, the activities or transaction which is there in profit and loss account, trading account, then the valuation is perfect and GST has already been paid on all the applicable transactions which is defined as supply as per section 7. When we are checking the profit and loss account, all the expenditure which is there, we just need to ensure that there is any expenditure which is covered under section 9 subsection 3, and if the expenditure is covered, then the RCM has been paid or not. The expenditure is there, then we need to ensure that the input tax credit is eligible or not. We need to analyze the profit and loss account, the financial statement as well. The closing balance which is there in the balance sheet, the same should be reconciled with the GSTN common portal electronic credit ledger as on 31st March 2024. And if there will be any differences, then we need to demand the reconciliation, because that reconciliation will be very much helpful for us. And if we are doing these things, the biggest problem is that in case of litigation, in case of any notice, our client will say that, Mr. Sachin, you were filing my returns, you were handling all the compliances, you have filed the 9 and 9C return. Now why there is liability? So there may be a chances that wo client kahin chala na jaye. So for that purpose also, we need to try to provide the services in a very well manner, in a structured manner. Okay, that is what is the thing I just want to convey. I will definitely share with you the checklist as well. Yes, that will be the part, incentive will be the part of your turnover, and you just need to provide the specific note while filing the GSTR 9C under unreconciled turnover. Okay, or you just need to provide that incentive related notes, that this incentive is related to the petrol related things. Okay, that is what is the thing we can do. Any goods, then you just need to amend your HSN code wise detail. You just need to provide it in your HSN code wise detail related to the products, related to the goods. That will be more than sufficient, and you can report only 5 HSN code, okay, on the GSTN common portal. So try to cover the maximum part of your business. Okay, so that will be the option we have. So I suppose I have covered the content of GSTR 9, GSTR 9C, GSTR 9. First part is related to our journal information. Second part is related to outward supply, the bifurcation. Third part is input tax credit. Fourth part is tax payable. Fifth part is related to the input tax credit related adjustment made during the subsequent financial year. And all other parts are the optional parts related to refund, related to the demand, related to our deemed supply, and the HSN code wise summary. Outward is mandatorily, inward related supply is not mandatorily required. 9C, the reconciliation of turnover with the books of accounts, and the rate wise tax liability reconciliation and the input tax credit. Yes, definitely will provide you the checklist, and I suppose we have covered the content. And if you have any query, you may connect with your call. Definitely will provide you the response. Yes, if you're 8C, if 8A and 8B is reconciled, and then you need to show something related to the input tax credit which you have claimed during the subsequent financial year, because the reason being, in your 8A there may be chances of certain error or the data is not correctly reflected. So in that case, keep the negative figure. There will be no any issue because the perfect reconciliation is there. This is merely due to the technical issues. Subsidy grant, definitely it will be the part of turnover, but in your profit and loss account, you are going to report it in profit and loss account. That when you are going to show it in GSTR 9C, you are merely report the turnover of trading. So in that case, any other 5O, you can take that particular point and you can show that thing in that part. Hence, in the checklist, I have prepared the chart and that will also be shared. No, for RCM applicability, just refer the section number 9, subsection 3, the complete list of goods and the complete list of services, 7 goods and 14 services. Everything is there on that section number 9, subsection 3. And I also request everyone, before filing that 9 and 9C, just try to keep certain specific provisions in your mind related to RCM, related to time of supply, place of supply, valuation, so that when we'll prepare or file the GSTR 9 and 9C, we can effectively check the data. So I suppose the content is covered. Yes.
Thank you, sir. There are a few questions in Q&A section also. There are 3 questions. If you can check the Q&A part. Is it visible to you?
No, Q&A part is not visible to me.
Okay. So I'll read it for you. There is a question from Ashwin Thakkar. Sir, any possibility ITC in GSTR 9 is more than auto-populated GSTR 2B ITC?
Okay, I got the point. Just I will check and then I will let you know. I'll find the
fine.
Q&A part.
Yeah. Another is high C sales is required to be reported in 3B as no supply?
No. This will be covered as neither supply of goods nor supply of services. So there will be no any requirement to show.
Okay. And there is one attendee who has asked us, sir, as per recent Madras High Court judgment, can we claim ITC in 9? As there is no provision that ITC should be claimed through GSTR 3B only. Your view, please.
No, we are not eligible to claim the input tax credit in GSTR 9 because a specific section is there, section number 16, subsection 4, and this section is going to disallowing us to claim the input tax credit after the specific timeline. So we are not able to claim the same, merely based on the decision.
Okay. So thank you, sir. It was a wonderful session, 2 hours non-stop batting, and just like Sachin Tendulkar, you have batted. Also, I would request all the participants not to leave the webinar, but share their views on the webinar chat box for how they find the session, what was important. And yes, the video is available on YouTube channel of Income Tax Bar Association. So anytime you can view it. Sir, you can see the reviews pouring in live in the chat box. And meanwhile, we have Shailesh Makwana, Advocate Shailesh Makwana, who is president of Gujarat State Tax Bar Association. And I would request him to propose vote of thanks for today's speaker, CS Sachin Jain.
वो हम साथ चारों एसोसिएशन मिलके जो कर रहे हैं। तो ये सब अपने पार्टिसिपेंट के लिए ही है, और ऐसा ही सब वेबिनार इस साल हम साथ में करके सबको अपडेट रखने के लिए ये कार्य कर रहे हैं। तो ये सबसे पहले तो ये आज भी अपने जीएसटी ऑडिट चल रहा है, और उसके ऊपर जो आज अपने ये वेबिनार रखा है, तो श्री सचिन जैन जी को मैं खास तौर धन्यवाद करना चाहूंगा कि वही उसने आज कॉलम टू कॉलम वाइज जो उसका ज्ञान का जो लाभ दिया है हमारे पार्टिसिपेंट को, सही में अभी बात किया जैसे सचिन तेंदुलकर, ऐसा उससे भी मैं तो बोल रहा हूँ अभी तो पंथ का आगे नंबर चल गया है। तो अभी तो ये उससे इससे भी अच्छी बैटिंग कर रहे हैं। और सही में आपने जो आज आपका समय निकाल के हमको यहाँ सबको यहाँ ज्ञान दिया, उसके लिए सबसे पहले सचिन जी आपका खूब खूब धन्यवाद और आभार व्यक्त करते हैं। चार एसोसिएशन, इनकम टैक्स बार एसोसिएशन, गुजरात स्टेट टैक्स बार एसोसिएशन, जीएफटीसी और टैक्स एडवोकेट एसोसिएशन की तरफ से आपका धन्यवाद करते हैं। दूसरा, मेरा आज का कंडक्ट करते हुए हमारे इनकम टैक्स बार के हमारे श्रीधर शाह जी ने जो ये पूरा कंडक्ट किया, उसके लिए श्रीधर भाई का भी मैं धन्यवाद करता हूँ, आभार व्यक्त करता हूँ। और मेरे जुड़े हुए एसोसिएशन के सब प्रेसिडेंट, सेक्रेटरी और सब पार्टिसिपेंट का भी अभी ये आभार व्यक्त करता हूँ। धन्यवाद। जय हिंद, जय भारत।
Thank you, Shailesh bhai. I'm overwhelmed to see the chat box responses to the today's session. And with this love, we would definitely continue to provide such wonderful webinars and speakers in upcoming days also. So thank you and keep posted. Thank you, Sachin ji, for sharing time. Please share the PPT so that once you will share the PPT, I will share it in the YouTube link so that anyone can access the PPT from the YouTube video itself. It is repeat that
Yes.
the YouTube video is available on YouTube channel of Income Tax Bar Association. Thank you. We are